find all the things that are green, even things that are kind of off green or teal or something. You say, oh, well, that's kind of green, you know? Okay, now close them in, open up, and everything that's red. All the things that you see around, okay, there's red. Things that are even maybe brownish, burnt brown or orange or something that's maybe off. You're going to say, oh, that's red. It's the same thing with us in our life. That when we're focusing on the negative aspect, we're seeing more negative aspect. It's not to say that we shouldn't daven on the things that aren't going well. But first we focus on the positive aspect. We see the good things that are going on. And then we're going to ask for mercy and help, abundant help if we need abundant help for the things that aren't going well. But to complain, to say, oh, we're never going to get the results that we want. Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Live with the Times. Today we are continuing here on the Parshas Beshalach. We're here on the Fourth Aliyah. Fourth Aliyah, this is first and foremost, I'm Maynard Breslow, grateful to be here and grateful for all of you. This is, of all the Aliyot so far, this is the longest one. You would think that maybe the splitting the sea, we'd have the longest amount of psukim, amount of verses, right? But here we have the closing of the sea, right? We have the subsequent final destruction of the Egyptians, Paro, the people who came after. And then what do we have? We have the singing. We have singing of Moshe Rabbeinu that we sing every single day. Right? Oh, Yashir Moshe. And then we have the singing of Miriam and the women. And we have a unfortunate event there, kind of shoehorned there in the middle there, of the complaining that happened at Marah, the bitter waters, right, where the people didn't have any water. And so they complained. They came to Marah, but they could not drink water because it was bitter, and this is why it's called Marah. And the people, they said, what are we going to drink? What's going on over here, Moshe? Manishte. Come on, bro. Manishte, what are we going to drink? You brought us out for what? All right, so he called to Hashem, and Hashem showed him a piece of wood, and he threw it into the water, and the water became sweet. And Hashem said, Im shamoa tishma lekol Hashem elokecha v'hayasha be'enav taseh be'aznata misotav shmarta kol hukav kol hamachala asher samti b'mitzrayim lo asim alecha ki ani Hashem rofecha. That if you will actually heed and do everything that I'm saying to do what's upright in my eyes and Hashem's eyes, giving ear to Hashem's commandments, keeping off Hashem's laws, then I will not bring upon you any of the diseases that are brought upon the Mitzrayim. For I am Hashem rofecha, ki ani Hashem rofecha. And so, what are we supposed to get over here? There's all these different mixed messages, right? Starts off with what we think is a good thing, right? Of course, the sea coming and crashing in, killing the Egyptians, Jews walking on dry land. Song of the sea, Oz Yashir, we will sing, the women singing, and then, of course, this episode at Marah and the subsequent blessing from Hashem that says, Ki ani Hashem rofecha. It seems as though it's a long parsha, a long aliyah, and there's nothing really bringing it together. We're jumping from here to there. The other thing, what's the point of them? The fact of the matter is that there is a common thread, once again, of course, and of course, as we've been speaking on this whole week, the common thread has to do with an aspect of emunah. But what is that emunah? What is that aspect? So that before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, share the videos, like the videos, leave us a comment here. Tell me what you think the common thread is between these. All right, but as we see, right, that there is a song, and it says, Rashi says that the Moshe would sing the song to the men, and the men would respond. And Miriam would sing the song to the women on the other side, and the women would respond. And then there's this whole aspect of Marah. Right? First and foremost, the singing in and of itself, right? The Midrash says that Hashem wasn't happy. Hashem wasn't happy. The people were singing, of course, they had their freedom finally, but Hashem wasn't happy. That the angels weren't happy. Why? Because people had to die. Hashem gains no pleasure. There's no pleasure. There's nothing. The world isn't completed through the killing of other people, Chas v'Shalom. But it doesn't have to happen. Sometimes, especially when a nation is filled up their box. Fill up their box is why Hashem had to wait. Fill up their box. So there's no turning back. But of course, the Jews, the Bnei Israel, had a reason to celebrate. They had a reason to sing, and they did sing. And the women sang. They had a reason to sing, and they did sing. But then we get into this weird episode right afterwards. We just saw all these miracles. Just saw the biggest miracle. We just saw all the miracles of the plagues. Right? We can understand why, during the plagues, at times, when Moshe first showed up, the labor intensified. People were like, yo, Moshe, ever since you showed up here, they've made us not only keep doing the amount of work, but we got to bring our own straw now. Thanks a lot, pal. Appreciate it. Can understand why they'd be upset. Right? And then, throughout the plagues as well, there was complaints there. And even as they're leaving, and now their backs are up against the wall or up against the sea, they go and they say, what is there? There's no graves for us? Right? They got a funny sense of humor. There's no graves for us in Egypt. You had to bring us out here? And Jews always, we always dealing with things with humor. We have so many challenges. They say if we're not laughing, we're crying, right? So, I can understand, right? The Egyptians are bearing in on them. They don't know how they're going to get out. But then the sea splits. And they have this huge thing. And now they just have this huge elevation, this huge high, singing and dancing. And now what happens? Right away, Rav Shalom Arush talks about this. He opens up the garden of gratitude specifically with this whole teaching, with the teaching about the people in general during the whole redemption, since Moshe showed up, and how really they had arguments, they had what to say, but it's not that they didn't have good arguments. It's that they lacked the gratitude of what was going on. But you can still see, okay, fine, they're slaves. They have a slave mentality. They don't really know. So you can cut them some slack. But by the time they get here to Marah, it's too much already. Right, the Rav Shalom says that the next instance of ingratitude came after the splitting of the Red Sea. The nation had gone a few days without water until they came to a place called Marah. But the water there was bitter and undrinkable, and the nation complained to Moshe, Manishdev, nu, what are we going to drink? Right? What should they have done? Of course, they need water. Right? But there's ways of saying things, there's ways of saying things. They had an alternative, they had a choice. Rav Shalom says they should have said, listen, Moshe, thank you very much for all your efforts on our behalf until now. We see that what you're doing, you're saying is happening. What you said you're going to do, that's what's going on. So listen, we need your help, man. We got a water problem here. I'm not sure if you noticed that. So please daven for us so they'll have some water. Help us out over here. What are we supposed to do? So why do they complain? Because they actually had no desire for the redemption. They actually didn't want to be redeemed. They didn't want to elevate themselves from their state of darkness and spiritual concealment into a life of emunah. It was much easier for them to live the dark life, to live in, as we were mentioning, right? It's so much easier to be a slave. Things are taken care of. Stockholm Syndrome. You start liking your captors. Everything's fine. That's fine. Leave us alone. Live a life of emunah. It takes work. People don't want to make Aliyah because it's the land of emunah. It takes work to live here. It's much easier to live in Tzort Brit in the United States Oh, don't you know, money, oh, this, that, the other thing. Right? They actually left Mitzrayim reluctantly, as if they were doing Moshe a favor. All right, Moshe, fine, we'll go. Subsequently, every time something didn't work out for them, they complained. They said, see, we told you not to take us out. Every single time they're looking for a reason. We did you a favor by leaving Mitzrayim, and now look at us. Thanks a lot, pal. Right? The problem is they didn't have a desire for it. And without a desire for something, there's no dedication or self-sacrifice. Any difficulty becomes a seemingly insurmountable challenge and a cause for complaint. Right? They hadn't invested anything themselves. It's like they're doing a favor. And this is what the state of exile is. That exile is a situation in which people do not desire the truth. They're willing to forfeit their bona fide mission in life in exchange for some comfort. Minimal comfort, even water or food. They misconstrue liberty. They think freedom is their fulfillment of their material desires and comforts. That they can do whatever they want whenever they want. Even if the taskmaster is the one telling them to do it. Or when they get off of the job at the end of the day, they say, oh, well, now I can go and look at what I want to look at and do the things I want to do. Oh, all these rules, forget about it. What do I want that for? I want to be free. Meanwhile, they're not free at all. Right? They have a taskmaster living over them, telling them what to do all the time, whipping them. But they think they're free. Because true liberty is the desire to fulfill one's mission and purpose in this world. Exile is life with no purpose. True liberty, true freedom is a life with purpose. The people didn't want purpose. They didn't want fulfillment. The mighty Egyptian army was routed without a single Israelite lifting a finger in combat. But despite the awe-inspiring divine intervention they witnessed straight away, the children of Israel complained about the difficulties. That was it. The first thing they'd say is, They didn't just get out of fight. They saw this amazing miracle that the entire world experienced. The entire world heard about it. They all saw it on Twitter, on X. Midrash says that every single piece of water split the entire world. Rashi explains that Hashem gave them a test of faith and saw their stubbornness in approaching Moshe with disrespect. It was all a test. It was meant to be a test. They should have said, okay, please, can you please request for us some mercy so we can have some water to drink? Instead, they complained. Rashi teaches us that approaching Moshe respectfully and asking him to pray for mercy is a completely acceptable action. It's not that they weren't supposed to be upset that they didn't have water. Of course they're supposed to be upset. But how are we going to go about it? When the children of Israel complained, they manifested their bad character traits of ingratitude and stubbornness. Rashi's explanation highlights the fine line between a request for mercy, which is both permissible and desirable, and a complaint, which only closes doors, it closes the gates. It brings on more tribulations. Prayer in the form of complaint is not only not answered, it stipulates even more harsh judgments, heaven forbid. So if a person relies on his merits and does not beseech Hashem's kindness, despite his lack of merits, his deeds are thoroughly reviewed. So this is especially true in the case of a person who makes demands or complaints. We see here these different pieces to the puzzle that on the surface look different. What's the combining force? We see that the people here did not get affected by the miracles they saw. They just experienced a huge miracle. And yet right away they start complaining. And this happens to us in our life. We see things happening for us all the time, that Hashem is helping us all the time. Even people who have, God forbid, are going through horrible, horrible challenges. They're seeing so many things going well. And of course, when, God forbid, something's really bad, it's hard not to focus on that thing. It's hard not to only see that thing. God forbid, if a kid is sick, everything else is out the window. If you're having parnasa issues, it's hard not to focus on that. Shalom bayit issues, how are you going to focus on other things? The problem is that there is so much good going on. And the more that we are seeing negativity, the more that we're seeing, that more negativity is coming. This is one of the things that Hashem is making in the world. Even in the secular world, You hear like Tony Robbins, right? He has this practice where he says, close your eyes, and now open your eyes, and in your room where you are, look for everything that's green. You find all the things that are green, even things that are kind of off green or teal or something. You say, oh, well, that's kind of green, you know? Okay, now close them in and open up, and everything that's red. All the things that you see around, okay, there's red. Things that are even maybe brownish, burnt brown or orange or something that's maybe off. You're going to say, oh, that's red. It's the same thing with us in our life. That when we're focusing on the negative aspect, we're seeing more negative aspect. It's not to say that we shouldn't daven on the things that aren't going well. But first we focus on the positive aspect. We see the good things that are going on. And then we're going to ask for mercy and help. Abundant help if we need abundant help for the things that aren't going well. But to complain, to say, "Oh, we're never gonna get the results that we want." Why did Hashem just create something in nature? Did He just make some sort of rules? Hashem He desires a relationship with them, and we are not moved by miracles. We're moved by relationship on a daily basis. You know, if you have an uncle who passes away, God forbid, and leaves with you a big, large sum of money, you get an inheritance, what happens usually? People spend it, it's gone. People fighting about it. I should get this, I should get that. You win the lottery. The cases of people winning the lottery and being worse off afterwards than they were beforehand are widespread. They say, what, money's bad? No, how's the Shalom? When you don't have the vessels, it doesn't matter. And when you only want one thing, you forget about it. We forget about miracles all the time. You look at atheists, and they say, well, prove to me that Hashem exists. They've been proven so many times that Hashem exists, but their eyes are closed. You can't convince somebody who doesn't want to see anything. Same thing with us, and we see right here that Hashem is not in the miracle business. He's not in the business of making open miracles all the time. That's not what He's doing. Right? He made a miracle one time, and He will make more miracles again. But that's going to be when the test is over. Pencils are down. So what are we supposed to do between now until then? Follow the formula that Hashem created. That why is this Aliyah have all these things in it? Because every day we're supposed to say, Az Yashir Moshe. Every single day we're supposed to sing this song and sing the song. Why are we just running through it? And I'm talking to myself. Why am I just running through it when I'm saying it? Instead of actually, wow. And not just a miracle that happened one time, some other time ago. But yes, that's the miracle. But also, how many miracles for me now, today? How many miracles am I living today? How many things were I davening on that I thought was such a big deal, and now they're not here anymore? So every single day, we have to have a relationship with Hashem. That's why I made it this way. So that we can talk to Him every day and remind ourselves, Hashem, whoa, actually you're doing so many great things. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, where am I supposed to go? It's only you. Right? That a person who gets everything at once, it's not that Hashem loves him. Hashem actually doesn't want a relationship with that person. It's not a good thing when a person is receiving all their money and they're not having to work for it, not having to talk to Hashem for it. It's because Hashem doesn't want to be with that person. It's better that a person, not that we can't have a lot of money, but we can get a lot of money, layat, a lot of money, and a lot of money, instead of you have what you need for your life, and then that's it. How many times people are blowing through that? So it starts with ingratitude, and the only way to curb it is through abundant remembering of all the good, of focusing on all the good, all the time that Hashem is doing for us, did for us, is doing for us, and will do for us. And to bring us to a place of song and dance, that we're singing and dancing and jumping and enjoying the world. And then from there, from that place, not from a place of sadness and complaining, from that place we can finally ask Hashem, listen, Hashem, look at how great my life is. I have the best life in the world. But listen, you know that the world's not perfect. You know my life's not perfect. You know I have things that I need to work on, and there's also things that I need your help with. Where else am I supposed to go? Need help with Parnasa, need help with Parnasa. What am I supposed to go somewhere else? It's only you. But at least I'm not like, oh God, why is this always a struggle? Why are you doing this to me? Oh, my life is horrible, God forbid. Oh, and then, God forbid, all the other things are happening, crashing down as well. Hashem's not a tyrant. Hashem wants a relationship just like any other parent. You spit in your parents' face when they try and give you food. Try and get another meal out of them, and they're going to say, well, last time I gave you a meal, you literally spat in my face. And we think it's going to work with Hashem. I'm going to spit in Hashem's face, God forbid. And he's going to be forced to feed me still. He has to feed me. He's God. I can spit in his face. Shalom. And then it ends there with, Ki ani Hashem rofecha. Hashem rofecha. Hashem is, it's true, Hashem is creating the diseases. Hashem is creating the cures. He's creating the diseases just like we were saying with Paro, so that he can bring us close, so we can talk to him. If we're not listening to him when things are good, Chas v'shalom, like we've said, when the parent has the credit card open and the kid is just running amok with the credit card, the parent may turn off the credit card. He's going to go and he's going to be upset. He's going to go and shopping, maybe even doing something good, going to get something for a mitzvah, or going to get food for the family, whatever it is. The credit card's not going to work. And now he's going to have to call his Abba. Say, Abba, what happened? What do you mean you haven't called me? When was the last time you called me? I knew you'd call me if I turn off the credit card. How can we get back on the good foot over here? I don't have a relationship with you. It's not enough to just have the credit card going. So it's the same thing. We shouldn't look at his punishments as Hashem being a tyrant or anything like that. We should only look at it from a positive point of view, that Hashem wants to have a relationship with us. He wants to build our emunah. As we're saying, a person who doesn't want emunah wants to live a life in exile, wants to live a life of only comfort, but it's not the right kind of comfort. And they say, oh, what do you mean? I want the geula, I want help, I need help, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, a person does not even want to begin to start working on themselves, doesn't want to even begin to be happy. They want outside comfort, outside things. And so thank you, Hashem, that we have emunah. Thank you, Hashem, that we have gratitude. Thank you, Hashem, that we have what to focus on, positive things to look at. That is bringing on more good things, so we should all be zoiche to see the good things in our life, to focus on the good things in our life, and to see more good things in our life. To sing and dance with what we have, and have more and more reason to sing and dance. And every single day to remember the geula and know that my geula is here. My geula is ahead of everybody else's geula, because I already am doing what we're going to do in terms of Mashiach. And that's thanking Hashem for everything, the goodness in me otherwise, and thanking Hashem in advance for the things that I need, knowing that Hashem is helping me, knowing that Hashem wants to fulfill all the things that we need to do together. And it's going to happen. Just like Rashi says that the women already had the timbrels. How do they have the timbrels? Because they knew that they were going to be using them. They were going to be singing and dancing. So they brought it already when they left Mitzrayim. They said, oh, let me bring this. We're going on a celebration. We're going to be free. And this way we'll know the true redemption, the true coming Moshiach, which will be through happiness and through gratitude and through good things and through happy things. For all people, for all of Am Yisrael, and for all the world, the coming Moshiach Tzidkenu, the third Beis HaMikdash, very, very soon. So be happy and be grateful now, L'chaim.